Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It is close to the top of the hour, and just wanted to spend the day sharing with you about Guardians and Gatekeepers virtual conference launch, and to introduce you to some of the people, the speakers that are in the virtual conference, just to let you know, give you a heads up, because we're having some technical difficulties with some of the videos, the presentations, where I've got technical people working on in the background to make sure that the presentations are populating. So your feedback is very valuable, but understand that you're not going to miss anything, because the virtual conference platform is designed so that the presenters have already recorded their presentations, and those presentations are uploaded onto the platform and available for you to watch. And when you register, you get a full year access to these presentations, as well as the future presentations that we're ongoingly going to populate for you to watch. The live component is actually happening on Zoom webinars that is only going to be available for you to participate if you are registered, a registered user of the platform. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Did I say it right? Good. Okay. So today is recorded presentations in abundance, like twice as many as we started out having at our live event in Lakeland, Florida, and you get to watch them at your leisure. And but tomorrow you definitely don't want to miss the live Facebook, or not the Facebook. We're not even going to put it on Facebook. It's the Zoom webinar. That's where you can actually speak to our presenters and ask them questions and stuff like that. So welcome, Dawn, and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good afternoon, or good evening for Alyse.
Good morning.
Good evening. From Sydney. Hi.
So, yes, this is our global contact. So I created it a year ago that, was going to have this conference, and it was going to go global. We were going to either have it in, I believe I created that I was going to have multiple conferences, or a global conferences. So in a way, it's sort of like having both, because this conference goes on and on and on, and every quarter the live presenters get to come together and answer questions live. So you are our global, you are what makes us global. Thank you so much. So
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Love it.
Well, so tell us about who you are and what you're able to bring to the conference to our families, because we're all committed to families restored. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. My name's Alyse Price-Tobler. I'm a clinical psychotherapist with a master's degree in psychotherapy and counselling. And I'm also an adult survivor of severe parental alienation myself. So I cross two worlds. I also work with adult survivors of parental alienation, and I've started a PhD researching treatments for adult survivors of severe PA, because the statistics aren't great with regards to serious mental health challenges and physical health challenges as we get older. And a lot of us score very highly on the ACEs score, which is the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. And so I live and breathe parental alienation basically, and it's definitely my life's mission to try and get it stopped within my lifetime, because there's not a day that goes past in my life that I haven't had it affect me in some way, or have contact with people who are seriously affected by it. And so, yep, I talk about it all the time. It's my favorite subject, and I'm terribly boring if you're not into it, because that's what I'm going to be talking to you about. So, yeah.
I get it. But, you know, the thing is I think the difference is when we do this work, we come from, I've gathered some amazing group of individuals who take the approach. We're not going to play whack-a-mole and squash out with hate and force. We're going to actually bring healing to hurting families through love and just having a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And part of my presentation is actually speaking to that, about that, because I believe we need to change the system around quite significantly and add a lot more empathy and love into the mix, and healing to come through as well. So because there's a lot of arguments going on out there, and a lot of stuff going on out there that's very hard to watch, and I'm hoping that things will change, and perhaps all of that energy will be redirected towards the children and the healing and what needs to take place, and the families and the parents, the grandparents, the cousins, everybody who's affected. It's huge.
Absolutely. And Dawn, you are a child of alienation. You're also a presenter too. Would you like to share a little bit about that?
Yes, so I'm bringing the point of view from the child's perspective and using what I experienced to talk and appeal to those that are making decisions on behalf of children and what's in the best interest, to try and help change the laws and so that people understand why we have to change some of our laws and the behaviors and the way that we are treating what is an emotional trauma, and how that can really be damaging in the long-term effects that we go through and have to struggle with in our normal lives. So this is why Alyse and I are actually partnering up and working together on some of her research. And so it's going to be an amazing thing. And Alyse, do we want to go ahead and...
Yes.
Let you.
I think so. Oh, it's very exciting. We've got big surprises coming for the conference. So Dawn and I have a lot in common, apart from both being adult survivors of PA ourselves, and in the severe category too. But we've also been gathering interviews from other adult survivors as well, and we're going to be uploading them for Parental Alienation Awareness Day on the 25th. So they'll all be up on the platform, and we've got quite a few, and we've also got more that we're doing tomorrow last minute, and we've got more in the pipeline. So we're going to be uploading so that the voices of the children, the teenagers, the adult survivors, they're all going to be getting heard. So we're very excited about that. Crazy excited, actually. I may never sleep again.
Oh my God. Oh, that's amazing. It's such an amazing thing to be part of this and working so closely with Alyse. And, you know, I wouldn't be anywhere else. This is where, you know, where I really want to be.
This is great.
Simpatico, Dawn, Florida and Sydney. Yep.
That's right.
We even share the same birthday, Danica. So we're like sisters. Yeah, absolutely, through and through, across the world.
So much in common. It's not even funny.
It's awesome. You know, I think the thing that gets me is that keeps me going, because if I had taken just a resigned and discouraged approach to this work 20 years ago, there's no way the human spirit cannot hang on to something that's just where there's no hope. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think each one of us are people of hope, and some people who know that we can make a difference. And it may seem like against all odds, and but still just remaining hopeful that
Yes.
the children's lives can be restored. That there
Yes,
really,
and some of us, we defy some of those odds, and
Absolutely,
I know
we
it
do.
looks like a long time from looking at it in one direction, but I'm hoping that they can see that, for me, it was 44 years, and that is too long. None of us would argue that that is just far too long, but if it can happen after 44 years, then it can happen for anybody.
yeah. And there's some adults who've been that their children are alienated from them, and it just doesn't feel like that it's ever going to happen. I think that for me, like, I never ever gave up hope. And I was so grateful that I say I had a happy ending because I have a relationship with each of my children. However, now it's my turn to help them navigate adulthood, because that trauma as a child is impacting their adult lives now.
Exactly.
So and then if some people, they never seems like that they'll ever get a restored relationship with their child's adult, going on with their lives and stuff. I mean, we certainly are not here to promise you a restored relationship with your child, but we do believe that there is hope.
There's always hope. There's always hope until a parent passes away. There's always hope, because we don't know what event is going to change things. We don't know whether the child's heart is going to change. We don't know if having a child is going to change the dynamic. We don't know if it's going to be a wedding. We don't know. We can't stop hoping, and we can't stop being prepared, making ourselves the healthy parent, waiting and get on with our lives and be the best that we can be while we wait for the alienated child to come back in and hopefully be there and have that reunification. We have to believe that that's going to happen, because for me it was 25 years since I saw in between the time that I saw my dad. So, and for Dawn it was 44, and where I have a wonderful relationship with my father, and Dawn she had an amazing relationship with her father before he passed too. So we are hope.
Yep. And that's another message too, is there's never any time to waste. So for the children that we're interviewing and the ones that we are trying to attract into this, to know that they have no time to waste. I know that they have questions and curiosities that are so deep down inside, and really the only way to answer those is to reach out and reconnect with your lost loved one, your parent, and the entire family that's waiting there to embrace you and to welcome you back into the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's not just the parent that we're missing, it's the parents and the uncles and the aunts and the cousins and everybody else who we're also missing out on. It's like a whole side of the family is gone. So to have them come back into your life. I remember when I re-met my dad and my uncle was there, he burst into tears and he was saying, "I've missed you my whole life." So that was my uncle speaking, and it dawned on me, oh my gosh, this is way bigger than my dad and I. So everybody's affected, and it's intergenerational as well. So we've got to do lots of work around this. We've got to stop it.
And what's so rewarding was reconnecting to the family that I never knew I had. And that was so healing. I actually went on a family reunion road trip, and I drove, in Washington, I went to Spokane to meet some of my cousins. And then I drove up to Indiana and met an entire side of my, family that, it's just amazing. And they opened their homes up and, accepted me with loving arms and unconditional. And, I have family. I have my family. And that's just amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. So there's always hope. There's always hope.
Always.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, you can't have regret for, what was it? Somebody said forgiveness. giving up that the past could have been anything different. You know, it is what it is. You can't change the past. So acceptance gives you freedom. And what are you going to create now? And that's something that I've tried to instill in my children is can't change the way things were. What have you learned from this? What wisdoms have you gained from this? And what wisdoms can you share with others?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for those of us with this really intense trauma, for me, I went in and now I'm helping others and still doing my journey work. I'm never going to stop doing the journey work that I need to be doing on myself, because I still get triggered quite a lot. And it's just about doing the work with that. But now I'm here speaking about it. So I could be sitting around doing other things that aren't that great, or I could be doing something really positive out there and connecting and speaking to other people who are all on the same journey and the same platform and trying to get things changed. Way better idea.
Yeah. I was thinking about that when I was a little kid, and I used to think, God, give me something really great to do in my life that makes a difference. Like, I remember saying that when I was a little kid. Be careful what you pray for.
You know, that's true.
Exactly.
I remember as a kid thinking, what is my purpose? And, you know, I really didn't know what that was. And, you know, I feel like I found that purpose, and there is something that you can bring out of such a terrible or tragic occurrence or an event, and turn it into something positive. And then that is healing, you know, in itself. So I've had a coach that's recently told me, you got to break it all down. And then so you can break through. And you know, those are things that help us to heal. So, you know, we get into this, you know, realm where we feel comfortable and it's familiar, but we need to really kind of bust through that and, you know, grow and learn and move beyond it. And that's not always easy.
It's kind of like this COVID pandemic situation where I always say breakdowns lead to breakthroughs. And the breakdown was, you know, our whole lives had to come to a screeching halt. So you could sit here and resist it, which is, you know, creating pain on yourself. And or you can say, okay, I'll accept how it is, the way it is. And what can I gain from that? And there's been so many beautiful things, enlightenment. People who have been on this moving train of their career and then suddenly screeching halt, and they're like, wait, do I really want to go continue on that moving train? Or what, do I want to choose something different? So there's so many beautiful things, outcomes that have happened through just pausing and not having a choice in the matter, you know?
Yep.
So,
Caroline likes to follow through with that. She'll, you know, we've heard the saying, break down so you can break through. And then she's like, so you can break free. That's her last little bit of information there. And it's true. So we can break free.
And my goal is that the world, because there was a time when I was a little child that you really that there's certain things that were acceptable, that we were just oblivious to.
I love children. Sorry.
Huh? Oh, but then we ended up, but through public awareness, we're like, oh no, this is not acceptable. You know, child abuse and you know, leaving your kid in the car while you go grocery shopping. I remember when I was a little kid. I mean, I wasn't like a little kid, but you know, it was much easier for a parent to go shopping when didn't have kids in tow. And that was considered acceptable during that time, you know, those times. But it's been through public awareness that we're like, no, that's not acceptable. So I see us creating a public awareness so that people really get, when they hear someone, a parent with their child in the grocery store or whatever, or in their own home, saying bad things about the other parent, that instantly we're like, that's a form of child abuse. You don't do
Yeah.
that.
No,
Yeah.
and so common, and we're so used to hearing it, and it's just not okay. Denigrating the other parent within earshot of your child is absolutely not okay at any time. Even if they're in the house, don't do it. And I like to think, even if you're out in public, even they need to be at least 100 meters away from you, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Do not do it, because we hear it. It stays with us. It puts us in a very, very difficult space, and just don't do it.
I mean, not to I guess to compare it to something shock value, like you would never ever think of talking about your sex life in front of your little child. You would never do that.
Right.
That's just so it's in that level of, why would you do that to a child? Why would you let a child even hear that kind of stuff? So
yeah, because it's a lot about the parent trying to release some of their pain, and they'll be talking to their friends and family and etc. Just that's okay, or go get a therapist or whichever. Do not do it around the child.
Right.
Don't.
So
I remember the feeling of wondering, why my mom hates at least half of me. I remember that. And we talk about that a lot, that it makes the child feel like, you must hate that part of them too. So when people are talking about their other parent, kids automatically know that they are part of both of you. That's just something that they realize, that they have parents that, created them. And when one parent hates the other parent, it's internalized and it's devastating. So we got to have parents that realize, they need to realize that, talking to your child about these things is not your therapy session. They're not your therapist or your sounding board. They need support, love, and security.
Yeah, we're kind of, what is it, parentifying the child. We are having them parent up to us when we're putting them in that position as counselor. And I totally get it. When you're in a core family, a lot of times, kids are privy to certain, I say secrets, not like bad secrets, but certain things about the family that are sensitive, that we wouldn't want to share outside of the family unit. Unfortunately, when one parent departs from the family unit, the parents, for a parent to channel that adult conversation directly to the child is not acceptable. I mean,
No.
I know of several people, good parents, that don't even get that they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. For instance, how many times when you're in an intact family, and you're struggling financially, you're talking to your spouse of, wow, I think the lights are going to get shut off and stuff because we don't have the money. That's an adult conversation. That's not a let's share with our little children about the electric, because that would give the child a feeling of insecurity. So why would a parent think it's okay, a single parent think it's okay to have those conversations with their child, and then add on, well, it's because your other parent didn't pay their child support?
Right.
Yeah. Well, often we know psychologically it's because they are actually really being triggered into child themselves. So a lot of the parents who are doing this behavior are actually in trauma themselves and have very serious childhoods themselves. So they really relate to the child. They can often drop down into child and not stay an adult or parent, the parent adult child model. They identify with the pain in the child and they drop right down, and that's not appropriate. Get yourself some help.
That's right. Find somebody, and be careful of who you use a sounding board with. If not a professional, make sure that it's not somebody that's going to align with your disempowering conversations. Align that the other parent is, a jerk or a loser or whatever, is not doing you any service. it's
Right.
not helping you to, you know. So we need to break off. My apologies. I'm tag teaming between the platform because we're launching the platform and just predictably, there's always some glitches.
Yeah.
I know that some of the presenters' videos are not showing up, and that's only because we're hitting the bricks running today. It doesn't mean that the videos are not there. It's just that they're processing, you know, like anything on the internet when you put a video
With
up.
everybody on the internet these days, yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that we've got all these participants that are trying to log in at once. Understand that if you are registered for the Guardians and Gatekeepers conference, that it is not, today is not live, so you haven't missed anything. It's just that if the video is not in that particular module, it's because it's processing. My apologies. And I have a phone call from somebody probably needing to troubleshoot. So
Okay.
I am going to check out. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.